Hello, my name is Jacob and welcome back to another video. Before we get started, I just want to let you know that we will be changing the channel's name to Virology by a Child. Anyways, back to the video. So today we will be talking about a well-known virus that is spread among dogs, rats, basically almost every mammal. And that is Rabies Lyssavirus, named after the spirits of mad rage. It causes dogs forcing them to bite. It causes humans to be feared by water. And it is deadly by more than 90% chance that you will die if you get infected. But the question is, how does the virus get into the body? So let's say you get bitten by an infected dog. The dog dribbles infected saliva into the body, which allows the virus to reach its first target, motor neurons. Motor neurons are specialized cells that work like little biochemical wires, transmitting electrical signals from one to another. When the virus attaches to the cell and enters, the first problem arises. How will the virus get from the dendril, from the end of the axon, to the cell body, where it can actually replicate? Well, one of the machineries of the cell, the microtubules, which provide structure, answer that problem. There are little leg-shaped proteins called dynein motors, which are basically little robot legs that carry cargo, use energy to sort of walk. Rabies uses one of its 5 proteins to attach to the dynein motors, sort of walking its way all the way to the cell body. Then it enters the nucleus, where it starts replicating and replicating. Now it has a few tricks up its sleeve to prevent it from being detected until it reaches its final destination, the brainstem. First of all, it prevents neurons from using interferons, tiny proteins which stop cells from producing proteins and activates immune cells, basically interfering, hence the name, interfering with the process that viruses use to replicate. But rabies prevents neurons from both producing and using interferons. Then, instead of killing the host, it stays silently, using vesicles to transport its way outside of the neuron to sort of hopscotch from neuron to neuron until it reaches its final destination, the brain. The brainstem is the part of your brain which controls most of your important functions, like your stomach digesting or you breathing and your heart pumping. Once it reaches there, the immune system finally detects something is wrong. When it detects it, it sends specialized white blood cells, known as killer or cytotoxic T cells, into the brain. Now, in the brain, you probably already know that it's a fragile system. Like the quote saying, "You cannot replace a brain." If a few immune cells go haywire and attack the neurons, it could kill you immediately. So then, the neurons use a sort of message to tell the cells to commit suicide, and also, in case that doesn't work, which it never fails, it also has a sort of gate in the blood vessels. The meninges can choose whether to let immune cells in or to take them out. So then once the white blood cells enter, they start looking for infected cells. But not only are the cells unable to detect it due to the lack of interferons, the rabies virus uses a sort of Uno block card. I'm not saying that they actually play a game, but they use something to stop the killer T cells from killing their infected hosts. Remember when I told you that the neurons can tell the killer T cells to kill themselves? Well, rabies uses that exact mechanism to kill the killer T cells that try to inspect to check if something's wrong. But now at this point, it's probably the end of you. Once rabies infects the entire brain, it goes backwards. From neurons controlling the tongue and mouth, it enters the salivary glands, which then, normally, in like most animals, makes the salivary glands produce an overload of saliva containing the pathogens, containing the vicious virus. Now, the virus just waits for the infected animal to bite another animal to repeat the cycle, from infection to replication to invasion and then release. Now, this is when the end starts to come. As some of your immune cells start attacking the free viruses, such as macrophages, the brain starts to swell up in a process known as encephalitis, which causes the brain to be compressed by the skull as it's expanding and causes most of the symptoms: confusion, aggression, and paralysis. And then soon, it makes you slip into a coma. This is where you die, because then organ after organ after organ fails. They stop responding to signals, and then you're dead. Now, this is unknown. The process is unknown to scientists about how the virus actually kills. But it's most likely by interfering with the neurons, by stopping them from sending signals and causing the entire nervous system to shut down. Sort of like how most snake venoms work. Now, although this sounds like a virus with all the biting and the salivary infection, luckily there's been no case of it infecting another human through one human biting another. Now, there's one thing you can do to save yourself from the virus: a vaccine. And because of how slow it is, by taking it weeks to months and rarely years to infect a person, you can take a vaccine to prevent yourself from getting killed even if you've already been exposed, which can save your life before you even notice. Now, before I end this video, I'd like to say that down below I'll send a comment on which of the two other viruses you can vote to be in our next video. This is Jacob, and I'll see you later.